Good day, everyone, and welcome to the Medium's Porch. I am your host, Kathleen Boldt, and we are here to talk about the process, privilege, and power of spirit communication by meeting some of the mediums and people from around the world that have this as their passion and do this as their service. And you can find out more about me personally just by going to my website, and that is mediumkathleen.com. So before we go any further and meet our guests for today, I wanted to take a few minutes to announce to you, because it's that time of the year when we have all the information together for our Lilydale Assembly programming. So this summer, starting on the 20th of June, going until August 31st, we have our special summer programs. And each year it varies in difference. If you're new here, you might want to know that we have a series of classes, workshops, activities, special events, etc., that you can come in and participate in. And I wanted to let you know that everything is up on the website now, and they even have the paper catalog ready. And I'm going to shamelessly plug myself for a class I'll be teaching there. A lot of you, when you go to Lilydale, go to the outdoor services, and that is something we call mediumship demonstration, where the mediums get up there and demonstrate to you the evidence, power, spirit of the spirit loved ones as they come through. And this can be a very powerful and healing experience. And it is a big part of what spiritualism has done with mental mediumship for many, many decades. And around the world, this is very popular. When you come to Lilydale, you're going to see the mediums in the outdoor services doing this work. And for those of you that are mediums, whether you're at the beginning of your journey or whether you are an advanced medium, I'm going to be offering some classes on supporting you for developing and unfolding further that mediumship demonstration process. So I've set up 3 classes with Lilydale, and that's going to start happening in as early as June. And that June program, that June class is actually a beginner mediumship class for platform development. So if you're already a medium and you're doing private messages, but you want more practice, or you want to figure out how to stand on the platform and give those messages connecting with spirit to those in the audience, bringing the evidence through. If you're trying to refine your evidence, this is a great opportunity to do that. It's a morning class. I call it Step Up to the Mic. Now, this class is on June 11th, and it'll be happening on virtual. It'll be a virtual class. We'll have Zoom rooms, and you'll be able to be in a small group. So you'll be practicing a lot during the time that we have. Yes, I'll give you some background and some information about what this means historically and present day mediumship, doing platform mediumship, but definitely you'll have a chance to practice a lot. If you're an intermediate or advanced level, I'll be doing a class on the 5th of August and the 20th of August. They are called Make an Impact. That's a 1-day class for intermediate mediumship practitioners. And then there's also From Ordinary to Extraordinary, which is for mediums that are wanting to, from an advanced perspective, go in, practice more, maybe do some experimenting, maybe go in and try things you haven't tried before, or set offerings for spirit that you may want to develop. And this is a good time to practice it. We'll be in both of those classes live in Lilydale, and we'll be taking advantage of the outdoor services. So the more you practice, the more you quell those nerves if you're a nervous person getting into platform mediumship, and you'll have the opportunity to address real live audiences. And those audiences can range from 50 people to like 250 people we've had sometimes at those outdoor services. So I would love to be a facilitator for your growth and development. So definitely check out those classes. It's all listed on the website, lilydaleassembly.org, and those classes are there. Register early because you don't want to be found out that you have a last minute mistake on getting that seat for yourself. Do know that if you're new to Lilydale or you're joining for the first time coming to Lilydale, we have places you can stay overnight. There are guest houses, and that'll all be on the website for you. So many of you watch this program, and you watch this program as a way of connecting with yourself out of curiosity. Why are you watching the program? Go ahead and write that in the comments below. I'm curious, actually, what you like about this program and why you're watching it specifically. However, whatever your reason, I know most of us are on this quest. We're on this journey to awaken spirit. And that's the exact title of another class that is being taught in Lily this summer. So drop us a note in your comments. Where are you on your journey to awaken your spirit? Where are you on your journey to awaken into spirit, into the knowing and the understanding that we're never alone and that life is eternal? Please write some notes below. Tell us some anecdotes, because we do learn from each other, and it's very helpful for us to hear each other voicing our opinions on this. Journeying into spirit is a very ongoing process, but a very special personal process, but it's also very universal. So anyway, getting back to what I was saying here, since I'm talking so long here today, we do have a guest waiting patiently in the background, and she is teaching a class this summer. So when you're looking on the website for classes and activities and booking yourself for the summer, take a look at Journey to Awaken Spirit. This is a class taught by Stacey Cripps, and she's going to be sitting with you or facilitating, instructing you on August 6th. That is the date for her class. She will help you awaken spirit within a feeling of wholeness and oneness. And in her class, you will be given the opportunities to connect with your loved ones and experience your spiritual gifts of love, joy, and healing. You'll learn how to ground your energy in your body, clear your space, and live in a higher vibration to receive love and guidance. So as I said, you might be on the journey of just discovering mediumship for the first time, or maybe you're doing this for personal development. We all have spiritual gifts, and Stacey is providing us an opportunity with this class to give you the chance to go in and deepen your experience. Now, the one thing I want to let you know is that evening, on the same evening, August 6th, you're going to see Stacey on the platform herself. She is giving messages from the spirit world, and that would be a separate sign up for you after a whole day working with her. You'll be able to meet her in person, and then you'll be able to see her magically work with spirit. And I say magically because there's just a mystical aspect to it, even though it's very concrete in terms of how we actually know spirit is with us at all times. So Stacey will be doing that platform class. I highly encourage you, or platform demonstration, my apologies. And she is doing it for your upliftment, for your heart healing communications, and she will be delivering these messages for as long as time allows. So make sure you check out the stuff for this summer coming up, because I don't want you to miss any of it. Now, finally, I want to introduce you to the beautiful soul I've been referencing. This is Stacey Cripps. Stacey, welcome. Hello, my friend.
Hello, Kathleen. It's wonderful to be with you and also with your community. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I know you have been very engaged. You love Lilydale. You've been coming to Lilydale for many years. You're engaged in this work of service at a spiritual level, that you are very awakened yourself. You work with meditation. You've published an album, Guided Meditations to Awaken to Spirit. Perfect for all of us just to keep coming home to ourselves, as well as advancing our work. Tell us a little more about yourself and how you came into identifying yourself as a medium.
Yeah, sure. So, first, Guided Meditations to Awaken to Spirit. That's on Amazon, and you can
Oh,
find
sweet.
that.
Yes.
There's also a free download on my website as well. The heart opening meditation is there. But I'd love to share my spiritual journey with everybody. I've had a couple awakenings. So my first one, I very much believe I was 16, and I heard God's voice in the middle of the night, and I had this blanket of peace that really was amazing, transcends all understanding, just lay upon me. And it was an evening that I really needed some help, and I was given this. And then at 26, my best childhood friend, Heather, was on her way home from college, and she was killed in a car accident. And we grew up together from the time we were 4 and 8 years old. And I was filled with grief, and I asked for help one night because I kept having these dreams. I would go to her house and knock on her door, and she wasn't there, and I'd be searching through her house, and I'd wake up and I'd be in tears. And one night I woke up in the middle of the night and I just said, I can't be here anymore. I need help. And I fell back asleep. And Heather came to me in my dream state under this tree behind me. And we sat and talked all night, and I could see her, I could feel her, I could hear her. She held my hand. And I woke up and I knew she had been with me. I just had this knowing. And she continued to come to me in my dream state. And then one day in my wakeful state, my ear was ringing. And I was walking into a store and I heard her voice objectively. And she said, outside my ear, you need to call my mom tonight. You need to tell her what I've been telling you. She needs to hear this. And my ear was ringing and she was opening me clairaudiently at that time to hear her in my wakeful state. And I called her mom that night. I was very close to her mom growing up. And I said, Heather's been coming to me for a while now. And she shows up with angels around her. And her mother replied and said, Heather collected angels for a year before she passed. And I said, she told me that a woman was with her in the car before she died. She was holding her. And she said, her mother replied, and she kind of gasped on the phone. And she said, I didn't believe them. And I said, who? And she said, the EMTs on the scene said a woman pulled her car over and got in the car with Heather and was holding her right before she passed. And I haven't been able to go on with my life knowing that she was alone when she passed. And as we know, we're never alone when we transition into the heavens. And after I delivered those messages, I didn't hear from Heather again for some time, but I knew that I gave a spiritual reading, and I didn't know what a spiritual reading was at that time. So fast forward, after every loved one of mine passed, my grandmother, grandfather, uncle, another friend, they would come to me when I was sleeping, and I would see, feel, and hear them right afterwards. And they would give me messages for my family. And it was very normal. And I really thought everyone had this gift. Like everyone could communicate with their loved ones when they're sleeping. And they could see, feel, and hear them just like me. And I remember asking my mom one time, I said, doesn't grandma come to you? She goes, no. And so for so many years, I thought it was just very normal until I went to a conference in New York City, fast forward to 2011. And I'd been reading lots of books, spiritual books. And I went to see a spiritual author by the name of Dyer, who many people know. And I had read a number of his books, and I had held a conference here in Chicago for people out of work, and I received an award, and I read The Power of Intention, and I just felt so connected to him. And I was becoming an executive coach and spiritual coach at the time. And I was learning about all these authors. And when I went to the conference, I was sitting there, and Wayne was up on the stage, and he took us through a meditation to Amazing Grace. Now, everyone who had, in my life, very dear to me, who had passed, Amazing Grace was played at their funerals. And so I never meditated before, I thought. And I went into this meditation. And when I went into this meditation, I could see, feel, and hear all of my loved ones in my wakeful state. And they came to me one by one. And I was just in a state of shock. And I was crying and healing. And when I opened my eyes, I saw my grandmother, my grandfather, and my uncle on the stage in apparitions. And my grandmother leaned over to me and she said, we're loving and guiding you still. We're still with you. And I heard her voice. I was very close to my grandmother growing up. And I was in a state of shock, very much so, because I could see them right in front of me.
Wow.
And so afterwards, I couldn't really feel my body very much. I started experiencing a lot of wholeness and oneness. And for 2 weeks, I experienced angels with me. I felt this complete state of bliss, and I could hear the hymns. I could hear angel hymns every single day playing. I'd be talking to my husband, and I'd be saying words like shall and thou, and he goes, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "I don't know. What did I say?" And he said, "You just said thee and thou and shall not." And so I was being, I feel, hosted for a couple of weeks in my spiritual awakening, to understand that this was really truly happening. And I felt so much unconditional love that I've really never felt before. And I just was completely awakened to see, feel, and hear in my wakeful state. And from that moment on, I was open. I was open, and I could see apparitions. And, I'd be going to get my nails done, and I would see an apparition, a loved one, and they'd give me their name, their native language. And it was just happening everywhere that I went. And I was sharing messages, keeping it very private, right, with loved ones and with people, because I know that I felt I was given a spiritual gift to help people feel love, peace, and joy, wholeness, oneness, and to feel that loving connection that's still there, that their loved one is still there with you. And so that happened in 2011. And from that moment forward, I started meeting these teachers, and in the afterlife, and spiritual guides and teachers in the afterlife, and then also here as well. And I was told one day in 2012 that I was a medium. And I said, "What is a medium?" And they said, "We see your light. We know you're a medium." I said, no, I'm not. And I kind of walked away from this teacher. It was at a conference. I walked away from this teacher, and I just kept hearing love and light over and over again. And then people kept telling me at this conference, "You need to go talk to this speaker that's here." And that was the teacher. And it was James Van Praagh. And
okay. Yeah.
So
when the student is ready, the teacher comes, right?
yes, they show up, and it's quite amazing. But I had never heard of the term medium in my life.
Wow. Yeah.
Up to that point, I did not know. I knew that in meditation, I was meditating every day after my awakening for like 20, 30 minutes a day. I had no idea about grounding. I didn't even know what grounding was. It took me a year and a half to learn that. And I was walking around open every single day, everywhere I went, feeling and receiving. And I was getting drained just being so wide open in public places. And I had a lot of fatigue. And I didn't realize what I needed to do, which was to kind of close my chakras and learn how to be in the here and now, in the body, as well as being in spirit when I'm helping others. So that also took its course. I did go to Omega Institute, and I did do a couple weeks there of training and learning. And I discovered that I'm a platform medium, and I did platform mediumship there too. What amazed me the most was how strong and active spirit is in the afterlife for us here. They are developing at the same time we are, and they are helping us to open more. I learned that we all have one of our inner senses, seeing, feeling, hearing, knowing, that is very open within us, and they're going to work with the one that's the strongest, and then they're going to go to the next ones, and they're going to open up those for you. And as long as you're in the practice, I feel, of meditation, which is, I feel, the state of being in your spirit, where you can experience the spirit to spirit heartfelt, loving connection, and you can receive communication there. However they work with your heightened senses. So that's been the journey. A couple years after my awakening, I was asked to give a spiritual reading to a family whose younger daughter had passed at 8 years old from cancer. And I didn't know this family. It was a friend of a friend. And one day I was walking around doing errands, and this little girl, it's about 2 years after my awakening, a year and a half after my awakening, started popping up around me. And she said, "You're gonna call my mom and dad tonight. You're gonna talk to them. I'm with grandma." And I saw her in the parking lot in the corner of my eye. I saw her apparition. And then I walked into Home Goods and I was guided to this pink aisle. And she goes, "That's my room. That's my room. All the pink things, that's my room." I could see her, hear her, feel her. For about 2 hours, my phone wouldn't work. While she was around me, and I have chills all over right now. While she was around me, her name's Sophie, and I was having a dinner party at home that night. We had a lot of family and friends coming over. It was for a fish fry or something. And I got a call at 8 o'clock and our home was full. And I was asked, "Could you meet with this family tonight in an hour? They really need help." And I said, "Sure." So by that time, everything was just by word of mouth. And I went upstairs at 8 o'clock and the family was on, the aunts, the cousins, everybody was on. And Sophie came through for an hour and 8 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
And she gave such evidential, specific information. She shouted out, "I'm with Maya." And she showed who Maya was, the dress, everything. And Maya had passed 3 days before she did from St. Jude of the same cancer. Wow. And after that spiritual reading, it just changed my life. And that's when my son was the same age as her at the time. Whew. And that's when I said, "Okay, you want me to do this?"
Yeah.
And then I stepped into it fully, put up a website, and many St. Jude families came.
Oh, wow.
That door was open.
From
that bridged it. And the most amazing thing about this is my father was a photographer for St. Jude Hospital.
Connections are uncanny, aren't they?
Unbelievable. And very good friends with Danny Thomas. In my upbringing, when I was growing up, he would call the house and Danny would get on the phone with me and make me laugh, and when I was little. And so it's all connected. I'll say in your spiritual awakening, everything is connected. And I do know, my father had passed in 2012. I think the spiritual reading was 2013. So right after that, I put an awning up and I said, okay, I'll bring the gifts. But I did receive a lot of help in the afterlife as well. My loved ones were coming to me on a daily basis. I had 2 to 3 spiritual guides show up that were so strong with me and validating their presence with me with physical, tangible signs, all sorts of things. It was quite amazing. And I was getting so much help on both sides where this path was unfolding. And so I was very much, my hand was being held the entire time. I was being guided the entire time. I owned a business at the time too, of like 18 years. I was owner of a recruiting business, and I'd been a recruiter, executive coach, and in financial markets. And so by 2014, I closed that business.
It's really interesting because your journey shows us that it really is spirit that is guiding us and teaching us how to communicate with them. Now, I just spent like the beginning of our entire conversation here talking about the classes that you could come to refine your gift. But I always see myself more as a facilitator, and I get the sense that you do too, because we're
Yes.
creating the space, the environment, the atmosphere, and the community, and there's a management aspect to that. But the work, the teaching, comes through the direct experience with spirit. And
Yes, and I'll
great.
say that you are the catalyst, so you're a vessel. So you're holding the space for the spiritual energy. And that's what, I mean, Wayne did for me that day. Dr. Wayne Dyer did that for me that day. And
Right.
so holding the space to experience the divine, to experience spirit, to experience the awakening, you're the vessel, you're the instrument. And
Right. So you're not even meant to be in there. I mean, in terms of your personality, right? Yes, of course, small talk, getting people comfortable, nurturing them in that way. But when the information comes through, it's all spirit. And, I find that something that, a friend of mine once said to me, you've been doing this for years. Why do you keep taking classes? Right? Why do you still study? Why do you have a mentor? Why do you keep doing this? And I said, because I need to keep myself out of the way. I have to make sure that I haven't crept in through laziness or just for whatever reason, I have lost touch with the fact that I am to be a neutral vessel. And so I feel like, when we offer these classes to people, it gives us the opportunity to share with them the privilege of being in the space where the learning happens as a result of the spiritual interchange. And I love that you're an example. So many people I've met have gone through classes, right? They discover they have the gift and they go through classes. But you have awakened later to this ability, and they taught you so succinctly and clearly right from the beginning. They're so vivid with you that maybe you're taking classes, maybe you have a mentor, you went to see, James Bond.
I've had
But at the same
mentors.
time, it's like there's an element of what you're doing that very, very, from the very beginning, you are the person that understood, oh, I need to be directed by them. They need to show me what I need to do.
100%. And I'll say that there's
One,
infinite learning. I take classes still. We met in a
I know
class
we did, didn't
at
we?
Lilydale last summer when we were doing
Yeah.
spirit art. We met in a class and spirit guided us to pair up. And I always know that that's all orchestrated by spirit. And we paired up and we gave each other spirit art readings. And what was amazing about that is, it's okay if I share.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes. What's amazing about working with Kathleen is that I have a connection to rock and roll heaven. So my father was an Elvis impersonator singer, and he had the jumpsuits and all, and he performed. And I grew up in music. I grew up singing, playing the guitar, and I grew up watching him perform. And so when he crossed over, I'll say during my awakening, I was opened up to rock and roll heaven right away. The week of my awakening, Davy Jones came to me right away. Jeff Healey came to me. A number of entertainers came through in my awakening. They'd wake me up in the morning with their songs, then they'd start talking to me, which was so fun. So I've had this spiritual connection with rock and roll heaven, and I've read for many entertainers in spirit who some have become very close spiritual friends of mine as well. And they have orchestrated the entire thing. They have orchestrated me meeting their friends, meeting their family. They have done all of it. I have just been on the receiving end saying, I'm willing to help. You're coming to me, my meditations. I'm willing to help. You have to do the work, I say, to set that up. And so when I paired up with Kathleen, we started giving each other the spiritual readings, Prince came through. And I know with Prince that he is very strong in spirit. And one of his famous quotes is, "A strong spirit transcends rules." And I've read for him many times. And I will say he orchestrated me meeting one of his family members and giving them a spiritual reading. He did that. And he was amazing through it. And when I met with Kathleen, I saw him and he started connecting. And I don't remember what he said because I don't remember the readings mostly unless I journal them after. But he connected and I looked at him and I was just like, what are you doing here? He goes, you know why I'm here? I'm connected to her. And he always makes me laugh because I doubt it when he shows up in readings, but there is a direct connection when he shows up with the receiver. And one or two times I've said, like, what are you doing in this reading? And he just go like, really? And so
Like him too.
yes. So I shared with Kathleen that he was present and that he was bringing a message, and she received it and understood. So I don't know if you want to share, Kathleen, about that.
Well, I remember the moment that I experienced him. I was like, okay, am I making this up? Because I was hesitant. I mean, I know that's not our job to be hesitant, but I must say, because I've always been a fan of his work and I went to concerts and got close in proximity anyway. I just felt like, okay, I'm going to just be gentle about how I bring this through. And she's like, oh, yeah, I know him. I've met him. I'm like, oh, phew, okay. Because, you hear a lot of people that come through, and we were, doing an exercise too.
Mm-hmm.
So, you hear a lot of people, oh, yes, I was Cleopatra in a past life, stuff like that. And so I'm always, when something unusual comes through where I'm aware that I'm present with the spirit,
Mm-hmm.
I have to get out of my own way and I have to remember, and it's ongoing. I mean, it's happened for years, but it kind of stumped me. This one stumped me a little bit, it's like, Prince. So I was a little surprised. And then I was like, oh, how do I bring this forward? And in the end, obviously you gave not only confirmation of being able to receive it, but also confirmation of what was said. And so again, reinforcing yet again that we just need to listen to what's coming through and deliver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, I'll say anyone that shows up in spirit is coming through for that receiver.
Mhm.
And we are not meant to doubt it or analyze it on any level. We are meant to just give it as random as it may be sometimes. I'll never forget this one spiritual reading I gave. It was to a singer out of New York City, and her mom was connecting and coming through. And I just remember her showing a blueberry
Hmm.
and not even speaking, just
Right.
just showing, not even hearing her speak, but just showing a blueberry. And then she showed a basket of blueberries. Then she showed the big blueberry again. I go, she wants me to say blueberry. And she goes, oh, that was her nickname.
Okay.
So, right, anything that comes through, we're meant to give it because only the receiver can interpret the information that's given from spirit, their loved ones in spirit, or anyone that they admire in spirit too. So I do know that everyone that's connected with me in spirit, it is not random for me. It has been through my childhood, my upbringing. There's been connections with them on the other side now, but there were very strong connections with them here. I mean, I grew up in the 80s. So all the entertainers coming through in the 80s, I went to concerts all the time from high school on, and we have that in common. So I grew up with music. I love music. Music is a healer. And I know that there's so much healing that can come through when those dots are connected with the receiver, with what spirit can bring to touch their heart, with their love, their presence, and their guidance. We have so many guiding us here.
It's lovely because you point out how you have the music and you bring through a lot of musicians. It really resonates with the fact that, we are a frequency ourselves, that we have a knowledge base as an individual medium. And
Mhm.
the spirits that are drawn to us are going to understand and be in accord with our frequency in some level so that they can actually work through us to deliver the message to the one they love.
And there's a connection with them. I mean, there's a familiarity. There's a, oh, it's you. I remember when I heard this song in high school, or I mean, in college, I was hanging out with this friend of mine. We played your music all night long. I mean, so I have memories. I have memories, which is the connections there as well. And so, I mean, I do feel every spiritual medium, it's very unique in how spirit works with them and through them. And I also know there are patterns I've learned when I do live events and platform mediumship. In the last, I've been doing it for about 8 years now, I think, 8 or 9 years now. And there's a theme to every night when I do a platform mediumship event. And it's amazing how spirit creates this theme. And I'll just share one of them was wedding. So one was engaged in the audience. The other one was about to propose. The other one was the best man coming through for the upcoming nuptials. I mean, it was so beautiful, but it can be created in that way to bring more and more healing, loving energy to all who gather in the oneness.
How many times have you demonstrated and noticed you're going to someone, they take it, they understand it, they're moved by it, and right nearby is someone that also can take it, understand.
Oh, yes, all the time.
And
I call that a twofer. I call it a twofer.
Clustered together.
Right.
You weren't speaking directly to them, and there were some differentiations, but the theme, the topic is so relatable to the other people that sat around the person that got the message. So it's like spirit's lining us up so that we pay attention.
Yes.
In the proximity and in accord with us. So,
well, I'll share something that is just so amazing. A recent live event I did online with an organization I work with, Helping Parents Heal. They're international, and I'm a speaker for them, and I speak at their conferences, and they're a wonderful organization, just so heart-centered. And I was giving a live event, spiritual readings gallery, and 2 girls came through. Well, yes, I saw one girl come through who was 16, and it was her anniversary of her passing, her angelversary. And she showed a butterfly garden and releasing butterflies in the garden. And 2 moms came on. Both of them had daughters with long blonde hair, 16, just had a birthday, 16. Both of them released butterflies in a butterfly garden for them recently. Isn't that amazing?
yes.
They work together on the other side to orchestrate more of a healing. And that's why I never doubt if 2 people stand up, if 3 people stand up, I'm going to continue with spirit, loving individual spirit, and they piggyback as well. And in a live mediumship, platform mediumship demonstration, they will piggyback. There'll be a coaching experience here, and then I'll be giving a reading over here, and then the dad will be their coach. So they will also piggyback in the room, which I think is quite amazing and creates synchronicity that's so evidential. They do all the work. It is incredible what I've learned. Just like you said earlier, we just need to get out of the way and let them work through us with whatever they want to create or bring for the highest healing in that room. And everyone receives healing because you're in the spiritual energy. Everybody there who's gathered is in it. Whether you receive it evidentially directly, you're still receiving the healing energy there.
And as a participant, you're also contributing your heartfelt energy and your higher energy to the benefit of the others that are getting the message. And you're offering that as an energy for spirit to use, which is a beautiful blessing that as an attendee not getting a message, you're actually giving others.
Right. And I'll say I've learned too from spirit, when I do demonstrations, there's always someone in the audience who is in very, very, very high need, and they receive a message. Then there's another person in the audience who may be the most spiritually open in the room, and they receive a reading. And I've seen that over and over again through the years. I always know spirit has this, no matter what it's going to feel like or be like or look like. I always know too, with the collective energy that's there, spirit is going to give what they can process. So let's say it's a new audience.
Right.
Maybe people who've never come to one of my live events, and they're brand new to this, they're brand new to spiritual readings as well. And this happened recently last year. And so it was so soft. The spiritual readings coming through, they were evidential, but they were so soft, like a softball, you know. And it was because that's what they needed. That's what everyone who came needed, and they received so much from it. Where here in Chicago, I do live events. People have been with me for the last, 14 years. It's like fireworks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's so interesting. It's so interesting. And same with one-to-one spiritual readings. I also give one-to-one spiritual readings throughout the week, and it's what they can receive. So I always trust spirit in going into a spiritual reading, that what's going to be given is meant to be given, and it's not about me in any way. And I'm just opening up to receive it for them from a place of, I always go into my heart before I give a spiritual reading, and I say, angels go before me for love, peace, and healing and guidance. I just drop into my heart, into my spirit center here. And yeah, I always feel so light in the spiritual readings.
I love that you brought that up. One of the questions, so very synchronistic, I have sort of loosely put together for us here today, was to ask you, because you specialize as a platform medium, to ask you, do you do a lot of preparatory work? I know that a lot of newer mediums tend to think, oh, I have to look at the audience and see the spirit before I get up there. And there are those that don't. I never do. I wait for the moment to happen. But what else might you do to prepare for such an event?
So I always make sure I do not have any calls or clients or anything on the day of a live platform mediumship event. I wake up in the morning and I open through meditation. I also get opened as well through sleeping that night. They'll open me, or in the morning, I know I'm open because they open me. And then throughout the day, I'm just in wonder. I'm in awe as to what spirit is going to bring. I'm looking around when I'm driving around, and when I start to have my attention drawn somewhere and I see something and I get a feeling about it, I know they're going to play with that night. I know that's going to be part of a spiritual reading. It always is. If I see a name or something that pops in, I'll be like, oh, I wonder about that. And wonder is a beautiful vibration to be in. It's a very high vibration. Being curious, being in wonder as to what they're going to do, how they're going to play, and bring all this loving evidential messages to touch people's hearts. And so I just let go. I guess I let go and I surrender throughout the day to spirit, and I fully trust. I fully trust. They have me at every moment, every turn, for these beautiful, heartfelt messages, loving messages. I drink a lot of water as well. Make sure I stay hydrated. And I meditate. So I meditate pretty deeply. I will also go into trance. I'm a trance spiritual medium. So I'll also go into trance before a live event. And when I do go into trance, what I found, I do this before live online events and before live stage events. I need a helper. So when I go into trance before a live event, I usually need an assistant during the live online event or at the live online event. Well, at the live online events, we usually have like a crew there, but online, I always need someone to help, to remind me to record, to remind me to make announcements. Because when you go into trance, I mean, you're in a very deep state of being. And so you're not here. And it really helps, I'll say, through the years. It really helps with allowing spirit to come very close. And they will step into my being when I'm on the platform, and they will do things, mannerisms, things with my body that are so evidential for the receiver. She walks like that. Oh, she does that. Oh, he does that. And so that is something that does happen as well at live events, where they'll just like work with my body as well and dance or twirl. Or I had one girl do a shuffle ball change tap thing up on the stage, and she was a tap dancer.
Yeah. It is amazing when they start doing that. You actually feel their whole energy, their presence, their sense of poise and posture, and just the angles they would lean into. And like you said, wonder, I'm totally on board with that. Wonder is a word that I like to, well, not a word, but it is a word, but
Vibration.
wonder vibrationally, right? Just being in that spirit. And the same thing happens to me, like during the day, you know, I'll be noticing things during the day, or my thoughts will go in a certain direction, and I'll be like, oh, that's curious, you know, like, well, I don't know why I'm thinking about that. Oh, well, keep going. And then you go and do a reading or a demonstration in the night, and then you're like, oh, well, my whole day lines up on the stage because
Right. There's so much synchronicity. I only had one time where all five children, I'll say, I was in Arizona during a live event there, and five children came to me. I went up to the hotel room just to do like a twilight nap before the live event, just to rest. And five children came to me, and all five showed themselves. All five gave one or two pieces of evidence, and their names and everything else. And then when I got up on that stage later that evening, all five came through. And that was the first time that had ever happened. I'd had it happen before with maybe one who would come to me throughout the day, but never like that. So I know how strong they can be to have you attune and really, I feel, kind of tune in to who's going to be with you that night. It doesn't happen all the time. I'd say a handful of times it's happened, but I do feel quite a bit throughout that day. And I always acknowledge spirit. And I say to people, when they bring you the physical signs, and where your heart is just, you're in that spiritual vortex of multiple signs and synchronicities that they're creating, to have you feel their love and feel their presence with you. Acknowledge spirit. It really helps too. I always say, oh my gosh, that was a good one. Oh, that was incredible. I'm always acknowledging them, because they have to learn how to connect and come through when they get into the afterlife. They have to learn how to come so close, how to do it. And, you know, oftentimes I'll hear them say, oh, I've got so much help over here with all these kids helping me. And they do have a lot of help, but they also have to learn how to come. I mean, I say that the children come so close because they don't have those inhibitions. So the entertainers. So, but all the loved ones, I'll say, when there is so much love between the loved one in spirit and the receiver, there's no holds bar. I mean, they're going to come through with so much evidence and love to really, it's
Just flows.
it's mind-blowing sometimes, because in a spiritual reading, you're in the spiritual energy, your loved one can awaken you more. Being in that energy, they can help you awaken. And I've seen people have quite amazing spiritual awakenings during their spiritual reading. Like they never thought this was possible.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've experienced that, but it's like, whoa, they're ready and they can handle this. And Spirit knows they're in the all-knowingness in the afterlife. They know everything that's going on in their life, and they will make that happen for them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty precious. People often come because they're just curious or they just want to know. And then, they're floored.
Right.
Surprised at what actually came through more than they expected, or that there was even that much information available. I love that. I love when Spirit surprises them. It's kind of fun to watch that transformation on the person's face, whether they're in a platform situation in a large group or whether they're in a private setting. I wanted to ask you, when you're doing this work afterward, because you kind of hinted at this idea of checking in with Spirit and thanking them and acknowledging them at the end of, say, a platform session. It's a big, long session that you're doing with many people in many contexts. Do you check and debrief? Do you go through a process of debriefing with your Spirit people after?
No.
Okay, some people do. So I was curious.
Wow.
Yeah.
I close up after a live event. I experience a lot of quickening. So I experience a lot of energy coming in. And I close up right afterwards. And I actually can't talk to anybody after a live event because I need to eat something and get back in my body. Because in giving platform mediumship and being here as a healing trance medium to open that much, I need to work on getting back in the body right afterwards, because I've learned after live events I've given, people will come up to me, I'll talk to them, I won't remember anything that I say to them or they say to me. And then I'll get emails afterwards and I'll feel bad because I won't remember anything. So I talk to people, I may talk to them a little bit before the live event, but afterwards I just need to go eat something and rest and go rest. And the debriefing, I just feel like I will, once I sleep on it possibly, then I'll remember the next day, whoa, that was amazing. Oh, that was incredible. Wow. I mean, I will recall some of it, not all of it, because I don't remember all the spiritual readings unless I'm like logging it or teaching some about Spirit. I teach online courses on the gift of Spirit mentoring, and I have a 2-year program, 4 levels, 6 months. And these are people that are awakening to the gift of Spirit. And it's all Spirit driven. So everything that is taught in these classes are all experiences with Spirit and showing how strong they can be.
Right.
And so I forgot what I was just saying. But I know people are seeking, those that are awakening with Spirit are seeking to understand, just like I did. It's the same. What does this mean? And how does this work? And I want to experience this more and more. And just learning the practices, meditation, spiritual practices, spiritual truths. And for me, I do know, and people are surprised by this, but I grew up going to private schools, Christian schools, and I became Catholic when I married my husband, and I still am. And when I had my awakening, I went right to our priest and I said, I just gave a reading from a spiritual, I just gave a spiritual reading from an 8-year-old in spirit, and she said this, 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 and this, and I saw her apparition. And fortunately for me, my priest said, "You're experiencing holy gifts."
Oh, very good.
Yeah, they're experiencing spiritual gifts. And so that was my experience. And for me, these are beautiful spiritual gifts of healing.
Absolutely.
They're the gift of miracles. It's the gift of healing. It's the gift of spirit. So it's all there. Yeah.
Yeah, the idea of spirit, we use it a lot as a vocabulary word, spirit, spirit, spirit. And when we say spirit, we might be talking about spirit loved ones. We might be talking about the greater spirit. We might be talking about our spirit guides. So I noticed on your site, when you're talking about the individual readings you decided to label them spirit readings. And then the other style of reading you do is a spiritual soul reading. So that got me wondering how you differentiate the word spirit from soul.
Well, so
are two different things.
Yeah, so
I'm curious.
So there are 2 readings that I give. One is a spiritual reading. So it's hearing from your loved ones in spirit. The other one is a soul reading. So it's hearing from your spiritual guides and your angels and your loved ones on your life purpose, divine life purpose. What is your purpose here? What is in your soul? And so in these spiritual soul readings, people sign up that are seeking to know their path forward, to understand their gifts and their path. And so in these spiritual readings, they will have spiritual guides come through and loved ones and angels that they are specifically connected to, and they know it. And they will come through and they will guide them and where they are and the unfolding of their gifts and their path forward. And it's just absolutely remarkable and beautiful. I give spiritual readings to many creatives. So many people that are in that space of writers or songwriters, authors, painters, all sorts of creatives, singers, and many teachers. So all of it comes through for them, specifically for them. It's very unique to them in their path. And it's very evidential, very evidential. They will bring through specific pieces of evidence as to where they are and what's going on and what is right here that they just are not sure whether to jump or leap onto that path. And it's the validation that they need. So they're given very specific evidential validation around that. Yeah.
Do you feel that each person comes in with a life purpose, or is that something that evolves, or are there multiple perspectives? What are your thoughts and what have you observed in the patterns of receiving spiritual information for people based on life purpose? What have you learned?
Well, I've
a lot of questions in one.
Oh, I know. I've learned that we have free will here, and I've learned that we can have multiple paths, and we choose through our free will what path is for us in this lifetime. I've also learned that we are coming back every time in our lifetimes to be what we've been in past lifetimes. Spiritual teacher, spiritual healer. And I also know that as well. We also, when we come into this lifetime, I believe we choose on the other side before we come what we want to experience here. The soul lessons, the soul plan, our purpose. We choose this. And sometimes it's very hard for people to understand that this was predetermined in coming into this lifetime, because it was something that we chose. Now, I will say, I do know I work a lot with parents whose children are on the other side, and they are very ascended beings here, these parents. They are awakening into beautiful spiritual divine life purposes here with their children on the other side, who are co-creating it with them, whether they're writing books or creating foundations or whatever it may be. They are doing it with them, and they do it with them so they can stay very close to them in spirit, in their spiritual development with them. And so it becomes stronger, their spiritual development. And so I do feel that we are given multiple paths that we could have here. And we do choose it. We do choose it through our own free will, because I have seen a path in my life that I could have taken, and it would have looked like this. I've been shown that by the divine. And so I think it's very, I feel it's fascinating. I feel it's fascinating. And I do know this as well. In doing, in giving spiritual readings and platform mediumship, we fulfill our purpose, whether it's here on earth or when we get over into the afterlife. I'll never forget this one time. Well, there's many examples, but I remember this beautiful young girl coming through with the sash. And she says, I'm in Brazil, I'm modeling. And I'm in the afterlife in Brazil modeling. And her mother came through in the live event, and she said she passed before that. Before she was to model in Brazil, she passed. And her daughter was proving to her mother that she was fulfilling her dream in the afterlife, modeling in Brazil. It's being fulfilled. And this happens time and time again with loved ones, that they fulfill their dream in the afterlife when they come through. And it's so beautiful. So we're on a trajectory, we're on a path, whether it's here on earth or into the afterlife, we are still going in that direction.
Yeah, our soul and our spirit work together continually.
Yes.
To unfold and to awaken and to explore what it is to be a being.
Yes, and it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's so beautiful, because people here can think that their life ended before they got to experience their dream, but yet they come through and they show it all, that this is happening for them here. And they're so at peace, and they're so happy, and they're so free, and they want to bring those healing vibrations to their loved ones here. And it's just so beautiful.
It reminds me also, like, as a person coming for a reading, sometimes they don't have the full education we do as mediums as to what's possible. So you will get the sitter that will come, and they will be wanting to know, have you seen the new baby? Because they're thinking,
I don't,
right. Life is done. You're missing this. You're not seeing that. And yet their life is continuing on the other side. They're active. They're doing things, as you mentioned. And also that, they're paying attention to what's going on here. So yes, they do see them, but the people that come aren't certain of that. So we give them that reassurance, or spirit gives them that reassurance.
Right. And sometimes I will just kind of, before I start the reading, I only ask for their names, that's it. But I go to spirit and they have me say maybe a couple things. And a lot of the times, what they'll say before the spiritual reading is that we're in the gift of knowingness. We know everything that's going on in your life right now. We're all around you. We see it all, we know it all. And that's a message they want to give you before we begin. And so I just allow just a little bit of a space before I start the evidential spiritual reading for them to say what they need to say as a collective, for them to help prepare them. I also take everyone through a heart opening meditation before a live event or before a spiritual reading. Always have them drop from their head into their heart to feel love in their heart before their spiritual reading. And I do this all the time because when they drop those 18 inches and they get into their heart center, that's where they can feel the love and the peace. And when they're there, I always say, Spirit, your loved ones, are in the highest vibrations of love, peace, and joy in the afterlife. They're going to be working with our collective energy here. So as you drop into your heart, feel that love with them, and they will come very close. And they do. And they do. They love giving names and nicknames when I give spiritual readings. And I think that they just really want to validate themselves with their loved ones that are here. And also, I've given spiritual readings to many skeptics. I don't know if you have too, but yes, of course, right? Because they also want to understand on some level what's going on. And I will say those are such strong readings. They are so strong. They are like blowing the roof off the place. Just letting them know that, yeah, I'm very alive in spirit. I know everything that's going on.
With skeptics, I welcome skeptics.
Mhm.
Cynics, that's a whole different thing.
What was that?
The cynical person.
Oh, right,
Very
right,
different than the skeptical person.
right. There is a difference.
Frequency. Yeah. Yeah. And what I want to go back to is what you said about how you bring the heart coherence forward within the whole group. And that makes it easier for spirit.
Oh, yes.
Use the energy in the space in the way that they're coming to match it anyway.
Mhm.
So you've raised, I've allowed everybody to raise their vibration before spirit even starts to do the work through you. So that's a beautiful way to go, and a beautiful.
It is so beautiful because they open, and then spirit is going to it's going to come so close and bring so much love and healing because they're there. They're in a place of receptivity to receive the love and the healing.
So this has been wonderful spending time with you, Stacey. This is great. And I have a few more questions that are popping up, but I feel like, we have this opportunity to meet you in the summer. And if people have their own questions, they can put them in the chat below. And we will be there to answer those questions. We may not be doing it as we're talking here, but we will be there. And they can meet you this summer. I'm looking forward to seeing you.
I'm looking forward to seeing you too. We'll have to have a coffee.
Yes, exactly. Leave me a spot on your calendar. And yeah, is there anything else you want people to know before we take off here today, before we wrap up?
I just want everybody to know that they're spirit first in the body, and they are already connected spirit to spirit. And when you can find that place every day, I say just start with 5 minutes of just dropping into your heart space, focusing on your breath. When you're focused on your breath, scientifically researched, you can't be thinking thoughts. So when you're feeling that breath, and then you let it slow down to rhythmic breath, relax, drop into your heart and feel love, you're there. Spirit is going to do all the work from there. And so just let them. They are so strong, and they want to touch your heart. They want to touch your heart, and they want to open your heart. And they want you to live from your heart and follow your heart here. Yeah, that's really what they want. They want you to be happy. They want you to be happy and feel their love.
So know that Lilydale, August 6th, you'll find Stacey teaching her class. She's got the all-day class. If you can't make the class, be sure to catch her on the platform. She's a beautiful medium, and she'll share as much as time allows the beautiful, compassionate messages that come through from spirit. So Thank you again, Stacey. This has been wonderful. Anybody interested in knowing more about you can find your website links in the comments below, and they'll
Right,
also.
touching one M hearts, that's a number one.
Oh, what was that? Say that again.
Oh, sorry, the website?
No, I didn't hear it. Yeah, say it.
Touching one M hearts is the
Thank you.
website, and it's a number one, not ONE.
Excellent.
They can find me, they can
Link
find me
below.
there. I will say one more thing about the workshop is that you will also be reading messages from Spirit. So you will be pairing up and you will be receiving from Spirit and the loving spiritual energy that will be created there.
As you practice giving messages as well.
Right?
I love it. Wonderful. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, it's so much fun. And people don't even realize once they sit in that space to receive for someone, it's right there. And when it happens for them, it is so amazing. It's just so amazing. I mean, Spirit just wants the opportunity. They want the opportunity to prove it and show you that they're right there and that you're open and that you're open. And some people don't realize how open they are until they're given an opportunity to work with Spirit.
Because we all get these gifts. They're innate within us.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when they're, our loved ones, the people that really love us. They want to, when they pass in Spirit, they want to make sure we're okay.
Yes.
Sure that we're processing things well, and that any messages that haven't been healed, they're going to want to bring them through. So,
and they want to continue to help us feel their love and their presence, because it's so healing for us here to go on with our lives, knowing that they're still with us, loving and guiding us, and feeling that they're still with us, feeling their love and their presence and their messages. They just keep wanting to develop with us and help us here. Yeah. Well, thank you, Kathleen, so much.
You're so welcome. And it was my pleasure as well. And we look forward to seeing you this summer.
Yes. Blessings of love and spirit.
Thank you. And everyone watching today, know that we'll be back in 2 weeks with another guest. And thank you. Be blessed.